Hey everybody, I'm Tom Miller. Come on in. You're right on time. You're in the perfect place. Lauren's not with me today, but she's always here in spirit. We've never met before. Raise your hand if you've ever seen me speak or you've been on one of our webinars before. Okay, great. Oh, good. So here's what I want you to do first. Give yourselves a standing ovation because most people are at the beach or they're just like maybe sitting on their couch or, slept in. So stand up right now, burn off those eggs and get up. You got to physically get up because you're the smartest people in North Carolina right now. You're the smartest people in North Carolina. Great job. Did you get that standing ovation, Carson? Nice work. All right, perfect. All right, here we go. All right, so what we're going to learn today, number one, is the key awareness. We're going to talk about blind spots to your charter school leadership, okay? We're going to talk about systems and an easy tool that you all should have. So if you came to one of the tables that I asked you to, there should be a book. Everybody hold up the book. That's an assessment workbook. If you don't have one, you need to physically get up and come over here, or my teammate Jeff will help you as well, my friend. Almost 20 years now, Jeff, almost 20 years. Common language around school improvement, which is critically important for your culture. And I'm going to give you a guide to becoming a high-performance charter school. Now, some of you may claim to be a high-performing charter school. Raise your hand if you currently lead a high-performing charter school. Everybody should just raise their hand. Just say, I want to be higher performing, right? Because what's the point of leading a school if you're not going to be high-performing, right? Best in the world. That's our goal, okay? Now, you're going to say, how do you know, Tom? Like, how do you know that this is even possible? Well, these two cars right here, I bought that Toyota Tacoma in 2005, and I bought that Honda Cross Tour in 2013. Those are the last two cars I've owned. They have over 400,000 miles that all traveled across North Carolina, right? I actually went to Indiana, too, once, right, Jeff? We went to Indiana once. But I have walked the hallways of hundreds of charter schools across the country. I spent 2 years in the Office of Charter Schools, and during that time is when they eliminated the cap on charter schools, and we read over 500 applications in 3 cycles. And there was about 70 schools were approved. And then in 2014, I started my own company, and I've been an independent consultant since then. And I was at one point, from 2020 to 2023, I was the interim executive director of 9 charter schools, everybody, in 3 years. Nine schools in 3 years. So we always had to hire the leader afterwards. I've done hundreds of coaching sessions with principals, 50 board trainings. We've hired 12 executive directors in that time. So I know a lot, right? I've been exposed to a lot. My awareness is really, really high, but it's only because that I've been in these schools and I visited some of the best schools. And some of you have hosted consortium sessions for us. Raise your hand if you've hosted one of our best practice consortium sessions, right? Or if you've attended one. It's always great because I believe that you don't have vision unless you really open your eyes, and that's how you do it. You have to go see other schools. So that's how I think I know. And as a result, I wrote this book. I went to Europe June of 2022, and I just got it all out. My mentor is like, Tom, you just got too much in your head. You got to get it all out. And so we wrote an ebook first, and then this year we published the 10 indicators of high-performing charter schools. Raise your hand if you have a copy. All right, we got a few. All right, well, great. Well, you can get it on Amazon, or if you want a signed copy, you can scan the link, and I'll shoot one to you this week. So, and everything you need to know is inside that book. Now, we're going to talk about at your table, how do you measure success, okay? How do you define success at your school? Turn and talk right now, 30 seconds with the person next to you. How do you currently define success? Need some Jeopardy music in the back. Do, 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 do. Come on in. We got workbooks and stuff up here. Come on. Don't just stand there. You got to come in. See, too late. I saw you. Now you got to come. All right. Has everybody got a definition of success? Anybody want to share theirs? Anybody want to share something at the table? How do you define success? Jeff, good. Thanks for volunteering. What'd you say?
I'm going to tell you,
Robin, yep.
Robin answer was better than mine.
Yeah?
How it feels to walk through your school.
Ooh.
It makes you want to come back and stay there.
I love it. How do you feel, right? So in order to know how you feel, like you want to feel good, you must have a vision for what feeling good looks like. Good. I love it. Now, how about this? How are you currently measuring success? So according to your definition of success, what measures do you have in place to actually say, yes, we have met that mark? We all know Robbins, but go ahead and turn and talk again. Same question. It's like a bouncy thing. All right, 10 more seconds on that question. Come on in. Do you have a workbook in the back? Are you good? Yeah, you got one? Perfect. All right. Who would like to share? How are you currently measuring your definition of success? Who wants to shoot something out? Jennifer? Perfect. Thanks for volunteering. How are you guys, what do you do at Piedmont to measure your definition of success?
Well, what I was just mentioning this time was we look at how many college now classes our high school students are taking, and I mean, it's really going through the roof. I know Pam can probably quote the number for you right now, but we see that as...
Yeah, how many students are taking college level classes in high school? Because before, you called yourselves a college prep school, but you couldn't really define it. So this is how you're defining. I love it. Good job. Hopefully everybody has a good one. Now, what are the consequences if you don't measure success, everybody? What are the consequences? Just shout it out. What are the consequences if you don't have tools to measure success?
No growth.
Say it again.
No growth.
No growth. That's right.
Bad PR.
Bad public relations. That's right. Yeah, your focus drifts, right? It's just kind of like anything will work, yes? Good. Excellent work. So, financial, reputation, lost time, sustainability, viability, and ultimately existence. And we will talk about that. Charter schools do close. You might be aware of this, that they do. So, there's 7,800 schools across the country. What percentage do you think close in the first 3 years? And what percentage do you think close in the first 10? Go ahead and talk amongst your table. 3 years, what percentage close? And 10 years, what percentage close? Yes, I love it. We're going to give him a standing ovation in the back. All right, 3 years, what's your number? Who's got a number for 3 years closing? 30%. 20%.
Higher.
And higher? This is like Price is Right. Higher. How about 10 years? How about 10 years? 60%. Whoa, all right. Higher or lower than 60% after 10 years? Lower? Anthony says lower. How much lower? Yeah? All right, let's see if it gets to there. All right, 18% close in the first 3 years. And come on, 40% close after year 10. How many are surprised by that 10-year number? Is that not surprising? Yeah? All right, good. We'll talk more about how we're doing in North Carolina here. So how can this happen? How could a charter school close after 10 years of operation, right? I believe that there's 3 types of problems in schools. Everybody has common problems. Common problems turn into crucial problems, and crucial problems turn into critical problems. And your job as a leader of that school is to identify the common problem, to stop it from becoming a crucial problem, right? To root out that cause, figure out what's happening, and then ultimately, right, so those crucial problems do not become critical problems. That's your job. The critical problems are the ones that can end a charter school's existence. And we just saw 40% of charter schools close after year 10. after year 10. Come on, clicker, let's go. Here's a great example. So student attrition, right? Every school has student attrition. You know, typically not everybody stays for the whole entire year unless you're at Quest Academy. Right, Elizabeth? So students leaving during the years, right? And they have to be replaced. And we always measure student attrition from PMR1 to PMR9. That's an easy data point. You could also measure attrition over summer loss, okay? There's two ways you can measure student attrition in your school. Now, that's a common problem, and you have to figure out why, right? Before it comes to crucial problems. When it's a crucial problem, there is cost to student attrition. Not only might you lose, you know, just local revenue, right, or state revenue, or federal revenue, whatever that might be attached to that student, but you're also that new student who you replace them with, who you think is okay, may cost $50,000 compared to the last student just costs a normal per pupil ratio, right? So resources, time, energy, and reputation. These are all crucial problems that you're losing. Now, critical problems occur when other charter schools move in, or your reputation dwindles, or maybe the school system gets better, and all of a sudden that nice, cozy wait list that you used to have is no longer there. All right? So now you have to, you know, make decisions. You have to reduce in force, right? You've got to find other ways to generate revenue. You have to cut operational costs. And typically the first thing to get cut operationally is what? Like professional development, extra staff, right? Just like the things that are going to make you better. And ultimately, right? Ultimately, 25% of your revenue might go to your just your home, which you shouldn't really have more than 12 to 15%. It's killer. And if you don't think it's true, this just happened. There was a Boston charter school that closed after 26 years of operation. If you read the article, it specifically mentioned the critical problem of not replacing students and figuring out a way to replace the $1.1 million of lost revenue from ESSER funds and lost students. 20 years. Now, you can't tell me that someone in that school didn't realize we may have a problem here, right? And the management company, a consultant was hired, right, to you know, help it out. But by the time the consultant and the management company was hired, it was already too late, okay? That's why consultants are expensive, everybody, just saying. Because they come into crisis times. What do you think the closure rate is in North Carolina? What's your guess of those three numbers, of those two numbers? What do you think? Throw it out. Are we better or worse than the national average? You think we're better, all right? Better? Well, here it was. I just asked the Office of Charter Schools for the most updated numbers. If they come forward, let's go. Serenity Now. Is it not there? Oh. Main reasons were financial mismanagement and academics. It's 20%. 20% close in the first three and only 20% close after year 10. I'll make sure that I get that right. I'll check on it. But three reasons, financial mismanagement, and academics are the main three. But really, the real reason is that the leader did not strategically solve the problem. That's really why the reason is closed. And I just heard another school in Charlotte is closing after year 10. It opened in 2013, sadly. So, but this is it. This is really the real reason. The leaders, and this is not just the head of school, everybody. Who else is this? The board of directors, right? You can follow the path. Every closed or failed charter school, you can close back to the action or inaction of the board of directors. It's as simple as that. So, these were definitely not the headlines that these leaders dreamed about, right? You know, the audit finds that North Carolina Charter School falsified enrollment for more money. Charter school closing after review finds irregularities. Indigenous charter school in Alberta permanently closing due to low enrollment. Clayton County Charter School closing after 5 years, district says. Just raise your hand if that's the headline you hope that your school brings. But I guarantee nobody woke up with that goal. So something happened, right? There's a gap between what we know and what we do. Again, all the answers are in the book. Get the book, and you'll figure it out. All right. Let's move on. So let's talk about why you came here, right? 7 risks of not evaluating your school. It's my goal to get through all 7, so I might be a little fast at times. If not, if you email me, I'll make sure you get all of the 7 in a recorded version. But the first one is strategic discrepancies, okay? Let's talk about this. Strategic discrepancies is a gap analysis, all right? So a strategic gap, right, it measures the difference between Robin's, this is what success feels and looks like to me, and when she walks down the hallway and feels the reality, okay? It's the gap between, right, what we want to occur and what is actually occurring. But the only way we can identify that is to know what? What we want to occur and what the current reality is, okay? We have to know both, all right? And the analysis identifies that step, like what's that next step that we have to take place? Now, everybody hold this up. I've already done the work for you. The steps are in this mini workbook. The bigger version I've already showed you could buy, right? But this is an assessment tool. We're going to walk through a little bit of it. But if you look through that, you'll see these are the foundational steps. And you say, Tom, how do you know these are the foundational steps? I already told you I traveled 400,000 miles across the state of North Carolina visiting schools in year 0 and year 20 and learning what's good and what's not good. Okay, that's how I know. That's how I know, right? And the whole goal of this, when you identify it, is to lead to that greater success. So this is the wheel of success. You'll see it inside your book. It's on the very last page on the inside cover. This is the wheel of success. So when I took over these schools, when I was the interim executive director of these 9 schools, I needed to find a way to identify what's going well, what's going wrong, right, and where do we need to prioritize. And that's how this assessment tool came about. And then we turned it into this wheel of success, a nice, easy visual for everybody to see. And each spoke of the wheel is one of the 10 indicators for high performance. All right? So when you take the assessment, you can color in your wheel, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But the outer edge of the wheel is your mental model of perfection. Your outer edge of the wheel is your vision for the highest performance possible of your school. Now let me tell you, Robin, right? You're going to agree with me here. As you get closer and closer to your vision of what success is, success expands, doesn't it? It's going to get bigger. So you're never going to actually fully go over the wheel. You're just going to say, hey, how do we get to that next level, right? But just think, the outer edge of the wheel is your mental model of perfection. It's your strategic vision of the future success. It's a perfect score based upon these indicators, okay? Now, if everything and everyone is working at their best, the wheel should roll very smooth and very balanced. Now, if you've ever had this happen to you, right, your wheel just ultimately fell off. This happened to me actually when I was driving to Ocean City, Maryland from Pennsylvania. Wheel just came off and just rolled right down. Now that's a very, very balanced wheel, right? And this is what we want our school and our operation day to be like. Just everything just rolling. We want car line to roll through. We want all teachers to be there. We want all kids to be in their seats on time. Everybody prepared, right? That's a smoothly operating wheel. Transitions, okay? That's what we want. So your team can complete this assessment. There's an online version too. If you scan the link and go to the page, you'll see take the assessment. And there's an online version. Everybody can take it, or you can download this workbook, right? And you print it out, and everybody creates their wheel. Now, what's the benefit of everybody on your administrative team taking the wheel? Perspective. I love it. Who said that? Thanks, Rob. You're the best. Jeff, give her like a pen that doesn't work or something. That's right. All right. That's right. All aspects of your school performance in one visual. How many of you have actually filled out a wheel and have done this exercise? I know Brevard's done it. All right, good. I mean, you can just see it, right? You can see all these different aspects of my school. Now, I can also see it from everybody on my team, different perspectives. It's like Robin was creating my PowerPoint, right? Different perspectives from each viewpoint of your team, from the finance, right? From your coaches, from your assistant principals. Your board members can take it. You could even have some parents take it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It all works, right? And so ultimately, right, it's going to identify and let us ask the question, what are we missing here? What are our blind spots, right? What are our strategic gaps? Okay, what are our strategic gaps? Now, this is the norm score of 650 online assessments, all right? And you can see we have strategic gaps in indicator 10, 3, 4, and 7, all right? Most of these deal with human capital as we'll learn and go through. So now I know where my gaps are, right? Now I have to figure out what's the cause of my gaps. But you see how this works? I take the assessment, I know what the potential challenges are, I have a conversation around the table with my team about, hey, how did you score each of these? Why did you score to disagree? I scored a degree. And then you have a conversation about school improvement. Raise your hand if you think this might work for you. All right, just half of you. All right, everybody else, turn to the person on your left and say, I guarantee this will work for you if you do it, right? It'll work if you work it. And then tell that person, says, I know, that's why I brought you here. So there you go. All right, so how well would this wheel roll? How well would this wheel roll? If we took all the norm of the 650 assessments, how's this wheel going to roll if it was rolling down that street? It would wobble, right? It'd be bouncy, right? It'd be unbalanced, right? It'd be unbalanced. Now, how many of you have ever tried to drive on a flat tire? It's not easy, right? That's right. It's a problem. It's a problem. And the problem is most of you charter school leaders like myself, we're the young lady on the far right here, trying to do it all by ourselves. We're trying to fix all 10 indicators all by ourselves. And the truth is we can't. Nothing worthwhile was ever achieved alone. We need our team. We need everybody on the same page. And that's the goal of the indicators, is to create common language, right? Common culture, common priorities, and common goals. Because ultimately, we've got to mind the gap. You ever, Subway in New York City, right? Or probably anywhere else, mind the gap, right? They literally draw it down. Why do they write it there? What's about to happen if you take one more step? You're going to fall into what? Under the tracks of the train. Right? These are so, they're giant. I was in New York City, and I was like, wow, this is it. Like, if a leader doesn't mind the gap, ultimately they may fall in front of the train and literally won't pass the train test or the bus test, right? We've all heard that. So here's some strategic gaps we identified. Average employee turnover, 33%. Average employee disengagement is 33% as well. Student attrition, right? Anything greater than 9% in your school causes, it causes a one report card grade lower and a significant amount of funds. Under-enrolled school, we've been in year one schools here, year 0. On average, they fall 24% short of their projected enrollment in year one. How many of you would like to start your school 24% less of your budget than you thought you were going to get? Just imagine that's 100 kids, right? It's what, $650 to $1 million. Academic achievement as well is also an issue when you have those gaps. Here's some other missed opportunities. An unclear vision, you're missing new marketing trends, innovative strategies, people, talent, emerging technologies, relationships, and some leaders just make, they just make things hard. In education, we make things hard. We talk in acronyms, so we try to make some really convoluted plans. But this is my favorite one, the power of no. When I have that wheel and I have clarity in my vision and my priorities, any idea won't work, right? Because then I can actually say no, unless you can convince me it's going to take us to a well-rounded wheel. So the power of no is really, really important. Otherwise, every idea works. Someone said that here in the middle. It's like, if you don't have a definition of success, then you just try everything. So what's one missed opportunity? If you were to look at your wheel, or if you've taken your wheel, or you're just kind of thinking, what's one missed opportunity right now you could think about that you may have a blind spot or a strategic gap in? Go ahead and tell the person next to you. What's that one place that you may have missed? And make sure you write down an action step. You can write it right there in your workbook. Write it down with your team. There are costs to inaction. We want a great return on investment here. All right, let's go to the next one. Who's got something that they notice that they're willing to share out? Yell it out. What's one potential blind spot that you got to look at? Ted?
So a lack of communication. I was just telling the team here, we've done this Wheel of Success several times. It always comes up, fiscal vitality, and the rest of the staff. This is really your opportunity as a leader to say, this is what I'm spending my time doing. So that the rest of the school can really understand what it is that you are doing. We've never not produced a surplus. We've never had to cut staff as a result of misfunding. Our teachers are paid comparatively well compared to the LEA that we're in, but always when we do Wheel of Success, it always comes up that the finances were not fiscally vital. And I always think, well, that just is because and I think I'm failing to communicate what fiscal vitality means for an organization, for a charter school. What I think that the staff is thinking that it means is, do we get paid the same as the people in the LEA that we're teaching it?
Yep.
And so there's that miscommunication, misexpectation.
They think Ted's cheap. Ted's cheap. You're like, no, I'm trying to survive. I'm trying to thrive and survive.
Right. I was just explaining to them that this past year we didn't hit our enrollment goal. We missed it by I think it was 7 students. We still have $16,000 surplus, and across North Carolina, it's hey, there's mold in the building, the ceiling's falling down. This is happening, and the traditional system's going to the commissioners to say, hey, you need to raise taxes. And I'm explaining to the staff, hey, we're not going to be able to get you that new carpet that you really wanted. But you're going to have all your textbooks. You're going to have $300 to spend on your classroom.
Yeah. So having that. That's right.
The gap is the explanation.
But Ted makes a great point. I mean, communicating what high performance would look like in terms of our budget, and where I'm the executive director, it's the opposite. We're 7% above what the local system pays because I have to. I got really talented teachers, and if I don't, it's hard for them to live there. It's a really expensive place to live. And that was one of my key priorities to do. All right, second one, resource allocation. So this is the second blind spot. We're going to call this scope creep. All right, and this is a gradual, unplanned expansion of project goals, tasks. So easy example is a building, right? If you're expanding your building, they all say, oh, it's going to be this amount of money, right? And then you just start to get into the planning and the architectural piece, and they're like, oh, well, we forgot about this or that, right? Leads to increased costs, delays, and difficulties. 65% of schools and businesses are affected, and 40% of the leaders note that it's the main reason of going over budget. The main reason, right? Because we don't have clarity in our scope because we haven't actually evaluated. Here's some examples. I talked about expansion. The annual change on curriculum programs. A few years ago, I was consulting with a charter school, and I happened to notice that they had an $80,000 line item for textbooks 2 years in a row. And I wondered, how come so much money for math 2 straight years? And they said, well, the teachers didn't like last year's choice. I said, okay. What types of training did you provide the teachers? What other evidences did you take into consideration? Are you going to really just do 1 year and that's it? It takes 10,000 hours to be an expert on this, right? But those things happen, right? I guarantee if you went into any school closet, you're going to find technology and things that were purchased that seemed like a good idea at the time, and now they're just sitting around, right? Or someone had to buy a program and now it doesn't work, or now it's too late. Or the mid-year hires. Okay, this is another one. Underutilized programs, third-party contracts. Raise your hand if you have a very crystal clear evaluation of your third-party contracts every year. Jeff, all right, I love it. Jennifer, how about your subscriptions? How many of you are evaluating subscriptions on an annual basis? All right, that's a good one for your home and your school, right? Because there's those reoccurring subscriptions. That's why they make them so cheap and such a great offer, is because you forget about it. It's like Planet Fitness, right? That's why it's only $10 a month. Duplicated programs, contracts. What else is a potential scope creep that you could think about? Turn and talk to your neighbor. What's maybe something else that's causing you to lose funds because of lack of evaluation internally? Go ahead. Turn and talk with your neighbor. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. Good job. Who's got another blind spot? Good. Yes, ma'am. Yell it out.
Recently we did the CCP.
Yeah?
There were textbooks.
Textbooks, yeah.
Decided to buy all college textbooks. $40,000.
$40,000. College textbooks? College textbooks, yeah. It's a big one. Yes, ma'am. Brandy.
A free book for us, maintenance.
Maintenance.
I mean, just your typical maintenance.
Yes.
Big roof, HVAC units, and
Yeah.
keep up with all that.
Just like putting Band-Aids on things, right? Ultimately, you just say, hey, if we just fix this or replace this, right? If we had the reserves where we wanted them to be, right? That's a great point, Brandy. Always be thinking ahead. You should have long-term plans for your technology, for your maintenance, right? For your textbook. All these things need a plan, right? A goal without a plan is what, everybody? A wish. A goal without a plan is just a wish. That's right. Every goal needs a strategy. Every goal. All right, number 3. Look at this. Strategic goals and planning. So let's look at this one. 87% in a survey, employees found that they are frustrated with their strategic plans. 59% say they're too difficult to implement. And 67% say that the strategic design is the problem. And maybe this is why. Let's see. Here we go.
Oh, guys, curious. So we've been walking by this for a few weeks and want to know, what are you building?
We kind of have a bet.
Kind of.
When we first started, I was thinking maybe a mini golf course or even a parking garage. But now that we're this far into it, I'm thinking maybe like a water park or even a bunch of phone booths. No. I got it. One big phone booth. Nothing's really set in stone yet, but I don't know. You got any ideas?
How about a fantasy football stadium? Or a gorilla petting zoo?
Ooh, a retirement home for elderly shepherds.
How about a medical clinic? Just for hiccups.
Okay, go with me on this. Martial arts and crafts.
An Uber station.
2 words. NASA headquarters.
A library that only has pamphlets.
You wouldn't think of starting a big construction project without a blueprint. And yet many people live their lives just like this. Your time is your most valuable resource. Are you living your life without a plan? If you feel like you're wasting your time and resources without a plan, I can help. If you need a partner in discovering your purpose, envisioning a better future, and taking crucial action steps toward your biggest goals, reach out to me today. There's no need to live like this.
How about Pinata Emporium?
We are cushions.
Raise a hand if you've got a board member or a team member that kind of maybe like those guys, huh? Well, if your board member's in the room, just give me like a tug on the air if that team member's at your table. Okay. I saw some tugs. Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? If there's no clarity in where we're going, every idea is going to end up working, right? Every idea is a good idea, and you can't say no if you don't have strategic goals in place. So here's some other pain points: lack of clarity, poor communication, ineffective design, limited employee involvement, inadequate training, unclear metrics for success, resistance to change and buy-in, mismatch with the culture, poor integrations with operations, and a lack of feedback mechanisms. These are the reasons why strategic plans fail. Now, I find most schools don't have a strategic plan or a strategic goal written down. Now, everybody, you can just close your eyes so no one can see in the room. Raise your hand if you do have a strategic plan or a strategic goals written down where someone can see them right now. If I said, where's your goals? Okay, all right. There's a great percentage of you that really need to think about it. that. Because if I don't have any goals in place, what are we doing, right? What are we all shooting for? So we've got this limited employee involvement is a big one. So we've got a process, we call it strategic planning made simple. And so if you're part of one of our programs, you have access to this information. But it helps you create skinny strategic plans, so 30 and 60, 90-day plans, because the problem is we create big goals for 3 to 5 years, and 3 to 5 years is just way too long. So if I can just say, hey, here's where I want to be 90 days from now, we can help you get those plans in place. It's an easy framework. If anybody's done a board training with me, like I do it at the end of the board meeting usually, I take the board through and I force them to work right there, because otherwise they're going to go back into their lives and work through that plan. But this is what you want, right? You want it solution-focused, actionable, a flexible design, results-oriented, mission and goal-driven, and brought in by the whole staff. We want a whole staff to be part of that process. And you can email Lauren or myself if you want to know more about that program. Okay, so let's do number 4, then we'll take a quick break. So skill deficiencies, training and development. This is a big one. This is the 4th risk, right? If you're not evaluating your school, training, obviously it improves your skills and knowledge. It prepares employees for higher responsibility, demonstrates value, and it's the only way to improve your school, everybody, is to improve who? The teachers and the adults leading the school. It's the only way. Yet, I find a lot of charter schools have a higher water and sewer line item than they do professional development line item. Okay, really think about that. The only way to improve my teachers is through feedback and instructional support and training. And training is not just one day during in-service, right? It's an introduction during in-service, and it's an ongoing professional development relationship. If you don't have it, turnover, productivity, workplace culture is an issue, and employee preparation. And lots of people will say, well, I don't want to invest and then they leave. I say, well, okay, they will leave because they want to be fed, and then all you're left with is the untrained. Is that really what you want, right, at your school? So it's really, really important to make sure you've got a process. Here's a great example. Is Kayla in the room? I think it's Kayla. We were just talking about this last night during golf. She's not here. Students with disabilities. Now, 85 to 90% of a child with, let's just say, like an IEP for what, Dustin? ADHD, right, or other health impaired or something. They spend 85 to 90% of their day with their general education teachers. How much training do you provide general ed teachers on how to lead students with ADHD? Just asking. Not a lot. How about ESL? How about gifted? They're in every classroom. They spend 85 to 90, sometimes more, of their day, yet we don't intentionally develop the general educator who's fully responsible for that kid's education on a daily basis on how to best lead them. What does a gen ed teacher do? What do they say? That's who? That's their special ed teacher's job. That's right, right? It's not my job. So just really important to be thinking about, right? How are you evaluating your employee development system? So looking at the first 4, what's your first opportunity of the 4 risks that we've talked about so far? What's the top one for you right now? Go ahead and write it down and share it with your neighbor. What's the top one? Travis, I'm going to come to you. Is that all right? All right. What's one spot, Travis, you can look at? What's one blind spot that you're like, thinking in your head, I need to make sure we have a measure for? You're still processing it? Yeah. If you guys don't know Travis, he's a great high school principal, and you're on the board now, I just saw. Are you on the board here at the Charter School Station? Thank you for taking that extra time, Travis Ward. All right, let's do it. Before I talk about the last three, real quick, on July 30th, we're going to be starting our second book study and 30-day challenge, okay? So we're going to do a 30-day challenge building a high-performing charter school. You can sign up in the book. There's a link. On the card, there's a link. There's no cost to the book study if you want to buy the book. But basically, over 30 days, I'm going to take you through the whole process. You're going to see it. You're going to do your data collection. You're going to create your wheel. We're going to give you resources so you can review the key strengths of the team members, and so you make sure everybody's very clear with their roles and responsibilities. I'm going to give you an exercise to do a mission and vision review with your staff during in-service. And then we're going to talk a lot about communication and collaboration. We'll do a SOAR analysis. We'll help you with that process, give you the resources. A SOAR analysis is like a SWOT analysis, except it's really positive. Strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results. Help you identify your strategic priorities, write your vision statements, and write your goals and objectives for the year. There's no cost to any of that. You got to do the work. I'll show you how to do it. It's 30 days starting July 30th. Highly recommend you either head of school or you bring your teams into that process. And then if you want to stay with us for the rest of the year, you can join our Blueprint for Success or our Inner Circle, which we've got lots of leaders in here who are part of our Empowered Executive Inner Circle, okay? So there's an opportunity to sign up for that. I hope you do. Performance metrics, key indicators. All right, 3 performance metrics indicators that I love. 1, you're going to increase employee engagement, you're going to increase retention, and you're going to get really clear on the measurable output of your school. Here are 9 or 10 bullet points. Now, I put a poll in, and I think we had 5 or 6 responses. Governance and human resources were the 2 that nobody noted that they had a strong way to measure success, which was really interesting to me, because you all just told me that human resources and the ability of your adults to do their job is the best way to improve your school, yet we're not sure how to measure it, okay? Well, I just gave you the tools. It's indicator 4. It's the high quality staff. You can take a look at it. And then governance as well, right? As the board goes, the school does. And so you need a high performing board if you're looking for expansion and driving schools to the next level, okay? So we have a tool. It's like 4 or 5 pages worth of what you could be evaluating your school on, and those data pieces I'm happy to share if you're part of the book study as well. I just love this quote. If you can't measure it, it just can't be improved. It can't be improved if you can't measure it. You got to have a way to know what does great look like and where am I now. Yogi Berra, if you don't know where you're going, you'll just end up someplace else. Some great quotes. The man who starts out going nowhere generally gets there. I think there's a Winnie the Pooh quote too, no? Is it? All right. But I love this one. The goal is to turn data into information and information into insight. That's what I want for you. I want you to truly know and understand your numbers. That is the goal. You need to know your numbers as a leader, and there are more numbers than just your finances. Numbers are everywhere. How long does it take for your cars to get through the line? How many families showed up to open house? Why is it important to know how many families showed up to open house? Because why? It's engagement, and I know that they're probably going to come on day 1, right? We have a whole system and process in our fully enrolled workbook for your teachers to call every family. Hey, I'm Tom Miller. I'm your child's 3rd grade teacher. I'm calling all my families today, so I don't have a lot of time to talk, but I just want to make sure you'll be at open house on the 3rd. Great. And the first day of school is the 7th. I can count on you at being at both days, right? And I'm going to mark that I got that person. At the end, maybe I got 22 kids in my class. Maybe I left 4 messages and talked to 18 people. Then I can tell Ted, hey, Ted, here's the 4 that we're still not sure about. That's data. That gets me ready for the wait list, right? Gets me ready for the wait list. Know your numbers. All right, number 6, customer satisfaction. 60% say good customer service is their reason for loyalty. Tell me, do you go to the same place if you had horrible customer service more than once? No. You go to a place that you're what? Comfortable with, familiar with, you're going to get great, service, even if sometimes the food's not that great. You may even go back because you had a great time, right? $75 billion lost per year in poor customer service. What's that blank for? I don't know why. Oh, I had the wrong button. All right. How many of you buy based on past experience, ratings, and reviews, and word of mouth? Good. Raise your hand up high if you do that. Okay, good. How many of you have asked your families to rate your school? Good, good. Everybody's hand should be up, right? Rate my school. Give me a testimonial. They're just sitting in the car line. They're not doing anything anyway. Grab them right out there. Give them a $10 gift card and say, hey, would you do a video testimonial right now? Not a video? Okay, how about let's just write one out? Can I put your name next to it? I'll take your picture, right? That's it. And hey, can you go tell 3 more families about us? Whatever it is. Car line. How long are people in your car line? Hours sometimes. Hours. Bring them in and volunteer, right? Find something for them to do. Good. All right, that's good. Loss of credibility, loss of consistent school-based practices, inconsistent attention to need, and lost funding. Like if you don't, if a child goes home every day and the parent said, what did you learn today? And the kid says, nothing, I was on the TV, or we watched shows, or whatever else, eventually that parent's going to believe that child. So you got to find ways to engage them so they're educated and they know what is happening. Turn and talk. How are you currently measuring student and family satisfaction in your school? Go, turn and talk. All right, here's 3 ways. Annual survey, family client surveys, right? Every year you do a climate survey. You can ask them about, parent satisfaction, customer service. You can bring in people for roundtables and have a deeper dive based upon the reviews. You can also be a guest in your own school. How many of you have done that? How many of you have driven the car line? How many of you have called your school to see how the phone is answered? Yes? You got to do it. You got to know and understand what people experience when they walk into your building every single day, because you're doing it from a different perspective. Right? You got to do it from a guest on a daily basis. Also, obviously, student attrition is a great measure for satisfaction, right? And wait lists and all those other pieces. Okay, last one, benchmarking. Now, when you write your goals, you're going to write some short-term objectives. Okay, and benchmarking helps you monitor and manage that critical data in the school. So now everybody on your team knows what objectives and what goals they're responsible for if you have a goal, and you write the objectives of how we're going to get there. That's how the Skinny Strategic Plan helps you, all right? If you don't have benchmarking, you're going to lose productivity, training costs, and turnover. And did you know that the average turnover cost is about 40% of someone's salary? It's from 1 to 16 times the salary of the person who left. And again, remember, I was the interim of 9 schools, and I knew how long it took us to get all the data, all the DPI passwords, all that information from the last leader. It's really, really expensive is turnover. So a couple tools that you'll get if you come into the study. I'll give you our behavior-based interview questions, our fully enrolled workbook, and the ways to do your own SOAR and SWOT analysis. A written analysis is pretty cool. I'll have to do a lot more explaining, but it's neat. Just think Netflix. Netflix owns this one. But, okay, there's 7 risks, and we got about like a minute left. So where are your biggest risks of 1 through 7? Hold up your hands and just hold up a 1 if it's a strategic gaps. Hold up a 7 is I don't have benchmarks. Go ahead, hold it up. Where are you at? What's your number? Which one's the biggest risk for you right now? Elizabeth says a 1. Jeff's got a 10 up. Robin's got 2. Anthony, peace to you, Ted. All right, and while you're doing it, I'm going to take an Ussie. All right, everybody give a nice, cool, picture. Give me 5 in there. Get everybody in. Oh, I can't get everybody in. All right, cool. All right, let's finish up strong. opportunity, right? Building a high-performing school. Click that link inside or take that QR code or email me. Get signed up. The book study starts on July 30th in the 30-day challenge. We'll get your whole process. You'll have your whole clear vision, your goals, and your strategic plans set up by then, and you'll have these 7 pieces, right? You'll have everything that I talk about, these risks, a way to measure all 7. And if you like the 30-day challenge, I'll invite you to participate in Blueprint for Success. There's a card in your book that'll teach you more about what Blueprint is. I love you all. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with me today. Thank our in the back. I didn't catch his name, but he was awesome. And Carson and Andre and everybody else who helped me today. Thanks, everybody. Love you. Take care. Be safe.